Everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 advanced writing English lesson on subject verb agreement. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of subject-verb agreement. All right, so our chapter is subject-verb agreement. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8 advanced writing. And in the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of subject-verb agreement, it is to use the correct verb with compound subject, and we're going to correct errors with subject-verb agreement. All right, so when it comes to subject-verb agreement, right? So a compound subject, when it comes to, like we said that one of our lessons under the chapter of subject verb agreement is to use the correct verb with compound subjects. And a compound subject, right, it is made up of two subjects that is joined by a coordinating conjunction. So once again, we see a compound subject is made up of two subjects that is joined by a coordinating conjunction, and a coordinating conjunctions are words like and, or, nor. And if we look at examples, right? Examples are Mark and Amanda. So here we are joining these two words, Mark and Amanda, and we're using the coordinating conjunction and to basically join the two words, the two compound subjects. If you look at another example, then it's either this week or next week. Remember when we use the coordinating conjunction or, it's like basically a choice. So this week or next, and we use the coordinating conjunction or to join those two sentences to bring about the choice. This week or next. And the next one says, neither Josh nor my friends. And we use the word nor to join that two subjects, right? And we call that compound subjects. It is where we have two subjects that is joined by a coordinating conjunction, either and or nor. And when a compound subject, right, is joined by the word and, if we have a compound subject that is joined by the word and, then it means that we need to use a plural verb. And when we use a plural verb, and then our verb, it does not or do not or does not end in s, it doesn't end in es, and it doesn't end in ies. And if we look at an example, right, where we use a plural verb that doesn't end in s, es, or ies, then we say, where do Mark and Amanda go school? You see, where do Mark and Amanda go, not goes, go to school? And also now when our compound subject is joined by or. So if our compound subject is joined by either or nor, either the choice that we have or nor, then it means that we need to use a verb that agrees with the subject that is closest to the verb. And if the subject is closest to the verb or the subject closest to the verb is singular, then it means that we need to use a singular verb. And when we use a singular verb, then it means that that verb ends with s, es, or ies, depending. And if we look at an example, right, where we use a singular verb, where the verb is singular, remember where we use s, es, or ies to show the verb. It says, this week or next seems, you see, we add an s, likely to be hectic. Seems. So which means that we are using a singular subject and a singular verb within that sentence. All right. And once again, if the subject is closest to the verb, which is plural, and then it means that once again, our plural verb do not end in s, I do not end in es, and I do not end in ies. All right. So once again, we see the compound subject is made up of two subjects joined by a coordinated conjunction. If we use and to basically show that there's more than one, which is plural, and then our subject and our verb needs to basically be plural and it does not end with s, es, or ies. And if our verb is singular, All right, so once again, if our subject is singular, our verb is singular, where it ends with S, E, S, or I, S. And when our subject is plural, then it means, and our verb is in plural, but we do not add S, E, S, or I, S. All right. All right. So now we're going to A plus students, where we are going to look at subject verbs agreement. Kind of, our subject needs to agree with our verb. So if our subject is singular, then the verb also needs to be singular, and then it ends with S, ES, and IS. And if our subject is plural, and then the verb also needs to be plural. So we see that our subject needs to agree with our verb, right? So now we're going to our test. We need to use the Greek verb with the compound subject. It says we need to complete the sentence the base verb. Depending on which of my relatives you ask, either Aunt Laura or Uncle Paul, do we say bake or do we say bakes the best rhubarb pie? Which one is correct? It says depending on which of my relatives you ask, either Aunt Laura or Uncle B, do we say bake or do we say bakes the best rhubarb pie? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, because remember we said we need to see which one is the closest. So it says, depending on which of my relatives you ask, we say either Aunt Laura or Uncle Peter. So it's one of them bakes the best rhubarb pie. I think it's bakes. Yes, bakes because it's basically referring to one person. It's either this person or that person. When we take our three dogs to the park, our black lab or our golden retriever usually. So when we take our three dogs to the park, our black lab and golden retriever usually, do we say usually fetch the ball faster, or do we say fetches? So fetch or fetches. And if we were to choose the correct option, we'll say, because now they're saying that our black one, so the black dog usually fetches. So fetches. All right, so now we're going on to our test where we're going to use the correct verb with compound subjects. We need to complete the sentence with the base verb. All right. So now we're going to look at the first one that says complete the sentence with the base verb. The award winning author and his editor, do we say speaks or do we say speak to audiences of writers and students every week? And we can say that the award winning author and his editor, so and, which means that it is both of them, we can say speak audiences of writers and students every week. All right, so speed is correct. All right. The next one says, in Mr. Griffin's beautiful old house. All right. So we need to say in Mr. Griffin's beautiful old house, small statues and porcelain vases. Do we say full or fulls? So fulls the shelves on the living room and den, or full the shelves of the living room and den. And in Mr. Griffin's beautiful old house, small porcelain vases and statues full. And the next one says, in Mr. Griffin's, we said full. Didn't press okay. On rainy days, Daryl and his friends, do we say like to invent new board games or likes to invent new board games? So on rainy days. So we say they like to, because if we refer to more than one person doing something, then remember we don't add SES or IS. So like, because it's more than one person. Depending on which of my relatives you ask, either Aunt Leah or Uncle Peter makes the best rhubarb pie. Or, all right. And if you were to choose the correct option, because remember when we say either this one or that one, it's the closest we latch onto that one, but still it's one person. Although the players and the coaches that the team struggled this season, although the players and the coaches, we said admit. All right, and then the last one says, although the players and the coach, do we say admit or admits that the team struggled this season, they hope to do better next year. All right. And we said, although the players and the coach. All right. And we said, although the boys and the coach, do we say admit or do we say admits that that the team struggled this season, they hope to do better next year? And if we were to choose the correct option, it says they admit, because it's more than one person, not just one person. If it's one person, we would have said admits. But anything that is two or more people, that is why we have the coordinating conjunction. And it refers to more than one person, and then it needs to be less. All right. When we stay at Mr. Kim's farm, either the roosters, or the pigs, do we say wake us up in the morning or wakes us up in the morning? So when we stay at Mr. Kim's farm, either the rooster or the pigs, they wake, because roosters or pigs, they wake us up. So that is why they said, you see, if they had to say this or that, right, without showing its plural, then we would have said wakes. But since they said it is plural, since a noun is plural, and then we had to say wake us up. Whoever or whenever we go camping, either Martha and Oscar, do we say set up the tent or sets up the tent while Sharon and I start the campfire? So whenever we go camping, either Martha or Oscar, so one of them, we say set up the tent while Shannon and I start the fire, or sets up the tent while Shannon and I start the fire. And we can say, if it's either Martha or, then we say sets, because it's going to be one person that's going to set up the tent. So sets up the tent. And then we're looking at the last one. Whenever the four of us play darts, And then we say, whenever the four of us play darts, Blanca or Ron always wins because it's either one. Wins. So if one person, if our subject is singular, then our verb is singular, right? Then it means that it either ends in S, ES, or IES. And if it is plural, then it does not end in S, ES, or IES. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on subject-verb agreement, where we see that the subject and the verb needs to be in agreement with one another. So this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. So till next time, goodbye. All right.